Hey, San Diego. Welcome back to the San Diego Spotlight, where we shine the light on the most interesting and influential business leaders around San Diego County and inform and empower you as a citizen of our lovely community. I am your host, Elizabeth Story, bringing you the Inside Story. I am not going to do a long intro for today's guest because we have so much to talk about. I'm going to go straight into it. I am so excited right now to introduce Earl Kight, Chief Commercial Officer at Ballast Brewing and Spirits. Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Elizabeth.
He brought gifts, so I think I'm going to make all of our listeners just a little bit jealous when I crack open a Sculpin here in a few minutes, but I'll wait. First of all, I'd like to hear from you. How did Ballast Point get started, and what are the origins of the company?
Well, I'm going to first open up my Sculpin. So since you're going to wait for a second, I'm going to clear my throat a little bit and have a quick sip.
Good man. Okay, I waited a second.
As I just poured it all over myself. Well, the company started in 1992 as a home brew shop. Some of your listeners may know Home Brew Mart down in Linda Vista. Jack White, the founder, graduated from UCLA, and he was a home brewer in college and pretty much didn't want to become an attorney or a doctor, and borrowed some money from his dad and opened up a home brew shop, and we still own it today. So from 1992 to now, so 22 years later.
Wow. And so isn't that where they very first started brewing, was in the back of that shop?
Yeah, 1996, Jack got together with his roommate from college, and they opened up a commercial brewery, and he chose the name by going down to the San Diego Historical Society and looking up things that were specific to San Diego that, you wouldn't have a trademark issue down the road. And he found this portion of land, Ballast Point, that's in the harbor, that ships used to come from the East Coast back in the 1800s, drop off their goods, and then to head back, they had to put something in the ship because nothing was made in San Diego. They put in stones from Ballast Point because it was ballast. That's the name he chose.
Okay.
Yeah.
And, a nautical theme is, anyone who's familiar with the products and will know and recognize the beautiful artwork, which we'll talk about later, but everything has a nautical theme. Where does that come from?
Well, when you're a home brew shop, you have a lot of home brewers that hang out, right? They bring in their beers. They want everybody to taste them. So back in 1996, there was a guy that used to hang out at Home Brew Mart by the name of Paul Elder. And Paul was sitting around one day, and there was a big discussion going on what the labels should look like for this new brewery called Ballast Point. Yusuf Chernay, who's our head brewer and distiller, said to Jack, you know what, I think we should do something like Mendocino Brewing, which is in Northern California, and they do birds of prey on their logos. And as they were going back and forth, Paul Elder kind of spoke up and said, hey guys, I'm an artist and I draw fish. And they go, what? Who are you? And he goes, well, I got my sketchbook in my car. He went out and got it. And Paul's been drawing all of our artwork ever since.
And it's phenomenal. It's gorgeous.
Yeah, very talented guy.
And I didn't know until I was preparing for the show. I went on to your merchandise tab on your website. You also sell the artwork.
Yeah, we do like prints of Paul's artwork. And it's kind of neat because it's just the artwork. There's no Ballast Point logo on it. It's beautiful. And he gets upset with us, right? We'll say, hey, Paul, we need a yellowtail to be on a label in this, bent this way, and he'll say, no, I won't draw that. And we're like, why? And he's like, because that fish doesn't move in that way. He spends a lot of time in the water. He surfs, he spear fishes, and he wants the fish to be correct when he goes to draw them.
Okay, that's very interesting, and they're beautiful. I'm looking at some of it right here. Sculpin, the fish, the India Pale Ale named after the Sculpin fish. It's just a gorgeous. Now, you have 4 locations now, and you just opened a huge 107,000 square foot location right up the street from the studio in Miramar.
Yes. We have the original location, which is Home Brew Mart down in Linda Vista. Still a home brew shop, still a tasting bar, still an active brewery. We have a 20-barrel brew house in the back. We have a location in Scripps Ranch, which is a production facility that goes 24/7. We brew up there around the clock. It also holds, holds our distillery. We're also a distillery, and it has a tasting bar in it. A year ago, we opened a restaurant in Little Italy with a 5-barrel system for experimental beers. We brew a different beer every day down there. We have a kitchen in there, so you can go down and get some of our award-winning food, and you can taste some of the beers. And then we opened up another facility in Miramar behind the pyramid. If you're driving down Miramar Road, it's behind it. It's a big building, 107,000 square feet, but it's getting small quick. We filled it up with a lot of equipment. We filled it up with a very nice tasting bar and with a pretty solid restaurant that opened about a week and a half ago.
It looks gorgeous. I was looking at the picture. I haven't been in person yet to the
Yep.
restaurant, but it looks absolutely gorgeous. I saw some of the pictures. Now, you have some really interesting stories about where the equipment in that facility came from.
Yeah, we have a guy by the name of, I mentioned him a second ago, Yusuf Chernay. He's our head brewer, head distiller, Jack's first employee. Started with Jack back in 1992. And Yusuf's got this skill where he can travel the world and find really good used equipment, have it taken apart, and then brought back here so we can save tons of money. In the new Miramar location, the brew house came from a brewery in Lohr, Germany, that was getting ready to get torn down. And Yusuf went over, checked out the brew house. He actually did the last brew on the brew house in that little town, and then supervised it being taken apart, put on a barge, and brought back here. It's all copper. It's a work of art. Really cool. We took a high-speed bottling line out of Germany. We brought that back. We took a canning line out of Reno, Nevada, from a Dr. Pepper plant that went out of business. We got a high-speed kegging line out of Sweden, and we brought that back. So he is. We sometimes we call him Lamont from Sanford and Son, right? Because he can go find stuff that other people think's garbage and turn it into something fantastic.
And I mean, what an awful job, just traveling the globe on the company's dime, tasting beer. I mean, God, how does he do it?
Well, he's a little bit of a pain in the neck, so we don't mind sending him away for long periods of time. And it's actually kind of nice. Then we actually miss him. So when he stays around a lot, it's a little difficult to handle.
So now you guys have a really big event coming up this Sunday. It's in all 4 locations. Can you tell us about that?
Well, we make this beer called Victory at Sea. And it's one of the few beers that we don't have a fish on the label. And it's kind of funny. I'll kind of talk about the label real quick. Paul has a difficult time drawing humans, right? He can draw a fish like you wouldn't believe. His humans, he doesn't enjoy it, actually. So what we found out is he's really good at drawing skeletons. So now anything that has a human on it, we depict it as a skeleton, and he's much more comfortable with that. So Victory at Sea has a skeleton at the helm of a ship. It's really a dark-looking label, and it's an imperial porter made with vanilla and coffee. It is in 10% alcohol by volume. It's decadent. And about 3 years ago, we had a brewer that said, you know what we should do is a bunch of different variations of this beer. And we did one, we called it Victory at Cereal, with Captain Crunch cereal. We did one with mole flavor. We did one with coconut. And anything you can possibly imagine, we started to expand. 3 years ago, we held a Victory at Sea Day. We called it the darkest day in San Diego. People went nuts, right? But I will say that the first idea, because just in case he's listening, the idea for Victory at Sea and all these different flavors came from Scott Blair, who owns Hamilton's and Small Bar. We actually did a variation of a bunch of Victory at Seas for him during San Diego Beer Week 3 years ago. And then we just kind of adopted the idea. So it was so popular that we decided we're going to do it, but we'll do it across all 4 locations at one time. So that'll be this Sunday starting, 11 o'clock or so.
And if you want to go, you can get tickets at the door.
Yes.
Get there early. There's going to be limited edition beer steins and limited edition hoodies and other merchandise and limited edition pours. So it's going to be a really good time. I'll be there. So maybe I'll run into some of our listeners while we're there. So you guys have this incredible commitment to quality. Do you think that that's been one of the biggest reasons why you're so successful?
Well, we don't have any classically trained brewers, right? We don't have a brewmaster that went to school in Germany or UC Davis up in Northern California. We have guys and young ladies that are outstanding homebrewers that it's their pride, and this is really what they want to do, is make the best beer and make it over and over and over so it tastes identical. It's very difficult to do. Mm-hmm. So as we've been growing, we've been investing in quality control. We have one of the best labs around. It's led by this guy, Nick Kane. I always refer to them as the geniuses, right? He's at a Virginia Commonwealth University. The guy is off the chart smart. Assisted by him is this young lady by the name of Lauren Zeidler. She's from Berkeley. She's a genius, another genius. But it's all about quality control. throughout the entire brewing process. And we think, at the end of the day, that's what's going to be the difference between all the breweries coming out.
Right. And you guys really, you do your own thing.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things I really like. You've got your own thing going on. You've got your own flavor combination. You're not trying to keep up with the Joneses. You're doing what Ballast Point is doing.
Well, yeah, the idea, right? And Jack, the founder, he always kind of says, we make what we like to drink, and we hope everybody else likes what we're making, right?
And they do.
Yeah, so, we make 70 different styles of beer. I can tell you, I don't like all 70 different styles. I'm enjoying the Sculpin here right now, though. And I'm going to grab an even keel in a second. But, that's really the idea, is to sit back and we have arguments amongst folks that we have guys and gals with great palates that they will dial in a beer till they get it to a point that they love it. And then we release it. We don't do any, we don't sit back and do, focus groups and look through a two-way mirror and have a facilitator ask questions about our beers. And we just kind of put it out there. We have one right now that we just kind of took off on us, which is Grapefruit Sculpin. And that's a perfect example. It's a beer that we liked. And we had a large chain, Vaughn's actually in California. The buyer said, "Hey, that beer's fantastic. Can you put it in a 12-ounce bottle?" And it's taken off for us. But it was something that we like to drink, that we just put it in a bottle. So.
Oh, that's awesome. So you guys also have, not only do you have beers, mm-hmm. you have mixers, and you also have liqueur and spirits, which I didn't even realize.
Yeah, the mixers kind of came, after the beer first. And, once again, Yusef, our man who travels the world, is also one of the most creative people you're ever going to meet when it comes to flavors and making really good things to eat or drink, right? He came in on a Monday morning about 4 years ago, and he said, "That's it, we're making our own Bloody Mary mix." And I'm like, "What are you talking about?" And he's like, "I went to somebody's house yesterday, and on my way there, because I'm supposed to make the Bloody Marys, I had to buy $40 worth of stuff to make it taste good." He goes, "I'm going to make a Bloody Mary that you can just either pour your favorite gin," which, by the way, put gin in your Bloody Mary. It actually tastes better than vodka.
Did not know that.
Vodka tastes like nothing. Gin has flavor. It's called the Red Snapper.
Okay.
And if you're going to use gin, use my gin, which is our Old Grove London Dry Style gin. So, sure enough, we did it. We tasted Bloody Marys for mixes for 6 months before we finally got to a point we liked one. So
I told you this before we came on air, but we are huge fans of Ballast Point Brewing in the Story household, and we buy that Bloody Mary mix by the fours at Costco. So that's been responsible for a few days where I needed a nap. I'll just tell you that much right now. And I'm sure it will be with the holidays coming up. I will be waking up to some Ballast Point Bloody Marys. You can bet on that. We got to take a break, but when we come back, we're going to talk more about the year-round beers, the seasonal beers, and all the cool stuff that they're doing over at Ballast Point. I'm here with Earl Kight, Chief Commercial Officer at Ballast Point Brewing and Spirits. They have 4 locations throughout San Diego County. Their tasting rooms are open 7 days a week, and they have 2 facilities that serve food. They have everything you need. They also have a home brew mart. Stick around. I'll be back. I'm your host, Elizabeth Story, bringing you the Inside Story.